Shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all honor and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rahah Kodash. Double honors to the elders, the apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect, starting with the 144,000 governing body of the nation of Yahshua Allah, and the men, the women, the true believers, the men, the women, and children, the true believers in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. May He have mercy on you in these last days. It's your brother Abna Allah coming back at you with another quick lesson, and Lord willing be edifying. The name of the lesson is Only the Elect Will Escape the Second Death. All right? And all sorts of scriptures say that, but the Spirit gave me the scriptures I'm going to use, and I hope and pray this is edifying. And I'm trying not to talk too much because these scriptures speak for themselves. And we start here at Zechariah chapter 14 and 12, because this is a part of what you will be experiencing upon the detonations of these nuclear missiles that's coming as a part of the second death. All right. And what happens is you got the prophets. Let me get that real quick. This is Jeremiah. Slack, y'all. I'm using two devices, so some scripture is not going to show up when a precept pop up like this, and I don't want to mess up my rotation, so you just bear with me. This is Jeremiah chapter 44 and verse 4. It says, "Howbeit I sent unto you all my servants, the prophets." That's who's actually warning the people about the second death that's coming, about the day of the Lord, about how you need to get right with Yahweh Shai before it's too late. That's the men of the Lord. That's a significant part of the elect. All right. It says, "Rising early and sending them, saying, Oh, do not this abominable thing that I hate." And that is the epitome of why there will be a second death, because we do. When I say we, I'm including myself, because I did abominable things that He did not like until I learned what He liked and didn't like, and then He gave me wisdom. And what is the wisdom? The fear of the Lord. And through the fear of the Lord, you don't want to be a part of what I'm reading here in Zechariah chapter 14 and 12. But I'm going to get back to this Jeremiah 44 and 5. It says, "But they hearken not, nor incline their ear to turn from their wickedness." You didn't listen to the prophets. You didn't listen to the videos. It says, "To burn incense onto other gods." That's the point right there. That's the number one abomination, because from that abomination, from idolatry, all manner of wickedness is brought to light and manifested. It says, verse 6, "Wherefore my fury and my anger was poured forth and was kindled against the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem, and they were wasted and desolate as this day." And that's why we're here in America serving our enemy instead of in our land. That's why our land is occupied by the enemy and being defiled by the enemy. And because you don't know the Lord, pursuing to Hosea 4:6, Jeremiah 4:22, you think you're an African American. So you so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, you're inviting yourself to the second death. Now, let me read this again. This is Zechariah 14 and 12. This is a part of the day of the Lord. This is a part of the second death. Listen to this. It says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all people that have fought against Jerusalem." Fought in what way? Hindering the truth, mocking. Okay, this don't just apply to the other nations. This applies to you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. Let me give you an example. The people that I just read that didn't hearken, didn't incline their ear to their wickedness in Jeremiah 44. Here, let me give you a better example. This is Zechariah chapter 13, right? The chapter next over from this. And I'm going to just read verse 8. "It shall come to pass that in all the land," America, Saith the Lord Yahweh, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And the third is the elect, the ones who will escape the second death. But the two-third, he just said it. He's going to cut you off and you're going to die. Who are the two-thirds? The same people that didn't listen to the service, the prophets, that didn't turn back from their wickedness and did the abominable thing that Yahweh Bashim Shah doesn't like, which is serving idols. Top of the line. It says, Zechariah 14:12 again. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Now, we're going to go back to this precept when we close out, Lord willing. But as you can see, that's the dissolving of something. That's something that's becoming liquidated. And what do you know can do that? Fire. All right? Concentrated fire. This is Revelations chapter 21:7. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and he shall be, Salaki, and I will be his God, or his power, and he shall be my son. Now, when you read Zechariah chapter 13:9, listen to this. It says, and I will bring 1/3 part through the fire. That's the elect. Those are the ones that's going to ultimately escape the second death. It says, and I will bring the third part through fire, and I will refine them as silver is refined. And you're only going to be that if you're of the elect. You're going to endure. It says, and will try them as gold is tried, through suffering, through affliction, through tests, through determining if you're really one of his. See if you quit when the chips are down, when things are getting tough. It says, and I will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name. That goes without saying. Only the elect are going to call on Yahweh Bashim Shah. So in order for you to be saved by your Savior, you got to call on his name. Right? To be Yahweh Shai, literally his name literally means he saves. From what? From the second death, the destruction of America. It says, they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai is my power. That's why when you read verse 21:7, Revelation 21:7, these are the ones that overcame. They went through the fire. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son. But the fearful, see, this is the 1/3, Salakia, the 2/3, the unbelieving, the ones who did not listen to the prophets, the ones that did not turn back, the ones that actually think that there is no second death coming, that you go to hell and burn. No, listen to this. It says, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars. See, these are all attributes of a 2/3 disobedient, wicked ass Israelite who just happens to carry on the attributes of his enemy or the Lord's enemy, the so-called white man, because he is these things. He is unbelieving. He doesn't believe in Yahweh Shem Shai. He is abominable by his decrees, by his laws that goes against the Heavenly Father. He's a murderer. He's a whoremonger to the point this damn wicked ass kingdom will turn all our women into whores. And he's the biggest pimp. He pimping the hell out you Eves, man. It says, and sorcerer, and idolaters, and all liars. These are all attributes and spirits in this current kingdom that we're in. And that's why Yahweh Ba'ashem Shah is coming back to destroy it. And the only way to avoid it is to turn back, is, Lord willing, to be of the elect. But we know only the elect will turn back. They've been doing it after generation after generation after generation. When the Lord calls you, no matter what situation you're in, when you hear that name, when you hear their scriptures being broken down correctly, the fear comes a part of you and you turn back. And now you understand that you're a son of the living power, man. You're not a black man no more. Black men are not going to escape the second death. The black woman is not going to escape the second death. Okay? The Israelite elect men and women and children are the ones that's going to escape the second death. It says, shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. That's what you people don't understand that's coming, and you can't avoid it. All right, if you're not of the elect, you can't avoid it. This is Salakia. Let me answer this real quick. It says, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahweh, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. It is faithful and true that there is a second death that's coming. And remember, the Lord first destroyed the wicked of his people. Through what? Through flooding. This time it's going to be through fire. It says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Don't worry about you individuals who don't believe. You're allotted for that Revelation 21 and 8, the second death. It says, fear not the imagination against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. See, those that spoke against Jerusalem, including you niggas, all right, you non-believers, Zechariah 14 and 12 is your lot. It says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness through thermonuclear fire. It says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction through thermonuclear missiles. All right. And only the elect is going to avoid that second death. I'm going to keep saying it because that's the title of the lesson. And the spirit hit me hard leaving camp. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a lesson on this, Lord willing. And then I pulled over and I'm doing it because I believe this and I know it's coming. It says, for wickedness have exceedingly. That's the problem. The wickedness of this kingdom have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. That's why you people don't understand. But the Lord, he said his elect. That's who's gonna make it. This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 3. Knowing this first, that shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lusts, right? Only to be put to death in that lake of fire, that second death. See, you people that don't believe, you never read the Bible, so you don't understand how much you're convicting yourself. You don't understand I'm talking to you so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans. You made yourself an enemy against your Jerusalem, against the Heavenly Father's elect people. You're his people too, but you're 2/3. And I read to you in Zechariah chapter 13 and 8 what he got in store for you. He said you're going to be cut off and die. Then the next chapter over, Zechariah chapter 14 and 12 tells you how it's going to be. And then I told you why. Now I'm reading it to you the actual layout of when it's coming and who particular is guilty. And it's showing you the scoffers walking after their own lust, believing what they want to believe, having that gainsaying mentality, never want to actually learn the ways of the Lord. It says, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? That's that unbelief right there. That's that, hey, your God ain't coming back no time soon, right? That's a horrible spirit to be in, but that's a spirit of an unbeliever. And that's the last book of the Bible. The Lord said to the unbelieving, right? Your ass is going to get the second death, which burneth with fire and brimstone. And it's the lake of fire set up by the Lord's army, the thermonuclear ICBM missiles. Shot by who? The other nations, pursuant to Jeremiah chapter 50, Jeremiah chapter 51, okay? It says, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. But see, that's not written. That's the Lord is letting you know this is how you niggas think. You unbelieving. You people that are going to be made as a fuel for the fire because your unbelief. It says, for this they willingly were ignorant of that by the word of the Most High the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in water. The creation. Right? It's talking about the creation. It says, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. That's the first death. See, the Lord is a great at reminding you what he has done to us in the past. It's us. And really, if you're not of the elect, you're never going to wake up and believe this. You'll forever be a mocker, a scoffer, a scorner, and truly deep down inside think, where is the promise of his coming? But on the day of the Lord, that's when your ass is going to wake up. But you going to be too late. You're going to be too late. It says, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved. Look at this. Reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. That starts with you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, then on to the other nations, pursuant to Psalm chapter 83, the Lord's enemies. It says, let me jump down. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. That's what I was saying. Oh, when is the coming of his promise? And then it's going to show up, and it's going to be too late. You're not going to be able to drop down and call on the name Yahweh Bashim Shah. You're constantly calling on JC right now, and look what he's doing for you. He's allowing World War III. I thought he was about peace. No. He's allowing World War III to be set up because he don't got no power. He's allowing America to be the central target, the most hated nation in the world now, okay? Partner with his buddy, the Amalekites, over in the land that was given to them because of our disobedience, all right? And now it's going to come full circle, and not unfortunately, through the will and through the power and the mercy of Yahweh Bashim Shai, 2/3 of his own people will be cut off and die and feel the second death. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. All the works, everything that's been done on this earth, including you, because you're an element. Watch. It says, seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, liquidated. Zechariah 14:12. It says, what manner of persons are you to be in all holy conversations and godliness? So you shouldn't be in the spirit of a scoffer, be in the spirit of an unbeliever, be in the spirit of being in the spirit. You should not be in let me say that right. You should not be in the spirit of a scoffer, a mocker, a scorner, an unbeliever, a whore, a homosexual. Okay. You should be in the spirit of repenting, fasting, and calling on the name Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, getting to know his judgments. You should be doing Revelations 3:20. Okay? You should have done Acts 3:19 already and repented and turned back like the prophets have been telling you, pursuant to Jeremiah 44:4. Rising early. You got that right now. Go turn a YouTube channel on and just leave it on and subscribe to a couple of YouTube GMS YouTube channels and watch how your algorithm get flooded with other brothers. And watch how you see a video is going up 24/7 nonstop like living water. Because look, here it is. It says, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. That's a question. Why haven't you got your shit together? Right? But the Lord said he dealing with the elect. That's who's going to escape the second death. This is Matthew chapter 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Why? Because of the thermonuclear destruction. Because of the second death already being in place, meaning people are already being melted. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in clouds of heaven with power and great glory. That's a chariot coming with laser fire coming out of the chariot, zapping and destroying. It's in Isaiah chapter 66 and 15. It says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. That's who's going to be avoiding the second death right there. That verse right there. That's who's going to avoid it. Who ain't going to avoid it? Well, we already know, but we'll end with this. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. That's the whole point behind getting your shit together now. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction to come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. The 2/3 and all the unbelievers, all the wicked shall not escape the day of the Lord. But the elect will. That's why I read it to you in Matthew chapter 24. Okay. That's what I'm letting you know right here. It's going to reiterate it. It says, verse 4, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should not overtake you as a thief. So I hope and pray that I'm of the elect. I ain't got no problem saying that. And the men that I labor with, and the men that's been laboring before me that are still laboring in the name of Yahweh Shem Shah, I pray that them and their families are of the elect. It says, therefore, let us not sleep as do the others, as the 2/3, the non-believers, the ones who are reserved for fire, reserved for that second death. It says, but let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober, be aware, be circumspect. Okay, not be drunk off the juice of Babylon, believing that Jesus is coming back to save you when his ass is going into slavery too. It says, for they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for helmet, the hope of salvation. And call loyam Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Hope is an expectation of salvation. And you only hope for something when you have been applying yourself, when you believe, when you're doing the things that will get you the desired result. Of course, you're still going by faith because you don't know if you're the elect. But damn, if you see a damn nigga going off and you know he done got the information and he turned back to the world, or they won't turn back to the world, then that should bring you hope because you're actually doing it. The Lord actually gave you fear. The Lord actually got you in the spirit of believing to the point unto death. So there's hope in that. While everybody else got hope in this goddamn wicked kingdom, that the recompense, the repayment is for your goddamn eyes and tongue to be burnt out your mouth and your flesh to melt. That's the final payment for your unbelief, not listening to the prophets, and quite frankly having hope in a kingdom that has already been destroyed. It just hasn't happened yet. It's written though. It says, for the Most High have not appointed us to the wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahushua, not Jesus. I know it say Jesus, but it's Yahushua because that's what his name means. And I just read you in Matthew 24, he's saving the elect, man. That's who's going to escape the second death. It says, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another as also ye do. And that's, Lord willing, that's what I just did. I hope this was edifying. I want to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakakadash, and double honors the elders, the apostles, the bishops, the great millstone. Shalom.